Scunthorpe United have lost 4-0 at home to Exeter City this afternoon.
Love it.
Open wide for some soccer!
It just muted me again. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us. Apologies for the new room. I forgot I didn't have an office until this afternoon for the time being. We are joined by four of the very best, which is about as many weeks as we've been at the top of the table now. Hannah is looking resplendent in the bedroom, which we're told is not Ian's, even though they share the same headboard. How is everything with you? We were talking before we came on. Did Arya enjoy the game?
Yeah, she enjoyed it, but she prefers it when we score more goals. So 2-0 wasn't so good in her eyes.
This is the problem with these new fans. They expect things. She hasn't had to go through that heartbreaking turmoil of, seeing Jamie Clark come on the pitch. And with even worse lighting than me, Tom is down on the South Coast. Hello, how is everything down in Naval Command Centre? Or wherever you may be.
All right, yeah, not bad to you.
Yeah, good. What? No football shirt today?
Well, actually, my T-shirt is the classic Grimsby is not in Yorkshire.
I love that T-shirt.
But no, I ain't got a jumper on.
I know you're privy to the WhatsApp group, but if they were to do another sort of round of those T-shirts, I certainly would be getting one. As I'm sure most Taron fans would be, because I think they've probably grown a little bit larger since the last time they came out. and one of the faces now of Grimsby Town, who seems to be on every picture that I see being put out, whether it be on... Were you on the TV screen as well yesterday? Was I hearing?
It was just a trailer for the programme, that was all.
Just a trailer for the programme, which I was in.
Yeah, your article was good, actually. I didn't realise... Such was my attention diverted to my own piece that I skipped straight past your Woking report. But
no, that's all right. That's probably best.
This morning, I gave it a good going over, and it was good, and it let me know exactly what happened on the day. And did you end up sleeping on the sofa?
No, I'm all good. But then again, I've lost my office, so that might say something.
What's happened to the office then? What's the story?
We are going to be joined later by Paul Franklin from Wealdstone's podcast.
What, is he in your office?
No, he's not here. We're not all that local. Have I just gone really quiet? I'm sure it's me. Yeah, I think my headphones, because they're wireless, I think they're getting to a point now where they're trying to save some battery. So I might panically run away in a minute. But I mean, what do we talk about? This is. I was maybe rightly scolded by a fair few Mariners. I am unfortunately not privy to watching the games at the moment. I'm having to listen to the wonderful voice of John Tonder, but he is my eyes. And from what I heard, it sounded like not a very good performance, though we got the win. I was rightly lambasted, I imagine. Bruce, Hannah, you were the people there. What did you think of it? And what were your takeaways from yesterday's 2-0 win over Yeovil?
I thought that Yeovil were probably one of the best teams I've seen us play this season, and it was a real tough game. But yeah, I wouldn't say we played badly. It was just much tougher for us.
Was it?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I thought they. You could tell from the start that they're. Oh, the impression that me and the folks around me in the lower got were the first few minutes they really didn't give us any time on the ball. I think the first right from the kickoff, it went out to our left-hand side, and there were two guys instantly closed, whoever it was on the left, Harry Clifton, I guess, probably, down with the ball, and it really set the tone for the first sort of half an hour. Like Hannah says, they, without carrying a great deal of threat, they worked really hard and they stopped us playing. But to go back to your analysis of the game yesterday. We certainly weren't at our best, and dragging all the old cliches out. I've seen it mentioned that you win when you're not at your best, and Hurst's already said, hasn't he, how many different ways we've found of winning this season. We've thrashed teams, we've scored late goals, we've just done enough, like this game and probably Eastleigh. But we're finding different ways to win, and we keep winning. But I didn't think we certainly weren't at our fluent best yesterday. I thought we just maybe missed something with not having Sousa up front. He was, when he came on, his pace really looks sharper and quicker than probably anybody that we've got up there. And there was a little bit, and don't take this as a dig at Lenny, but he worked hard. But I don't think he's quite as mobile as Taylor perhaps is, and that may be just down to the matches, the game times that Taylor's had. But McAtee several times had to. We noticed he would close down on the right hand side, and then he would run across past where Lenny was, and he'd be closing down on the other side of the pitch. And like I say, that's just the way that those two are. I think Ryan Taylor obviously has played a lot more and looks a lot sharper, and hopefully Lenny will get to that stage.
It's a really interesting one, and I saw that Elliot Jackson, who I thought came across really well on the show last week, wrote an article on Lenny and his opinion on it. I didn't necessarily mind the one that I read one of them, which was essentially just a regurgitated piece of what Hurst had said in interviews, which was all relatively so. I just, for some reason in the fan base, there are some people who just can't not have a person to pick on, or to have someone who isn't their scapegoat for performances. And maybe in previous years, I've fallen to that. Matt Green still makes me wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats, not for any good reasons. And it's been the way of it. But when I was listening to the game yesterday, the second we got the penalty, you could hear people in the main stand, and my dad reported back to me as well, which we might touch on later, that people were like shouting no. It's like, he's whatever you may think of Lenny, he's a striker who's a professional footballer who can kick a ball from 12 yards. And yes, he's missed 50% of the penalties he's taken this year, but so have the vast majority of the strikers we've had this year as well. And he put it away pretty well from what I could see on the footage we've had. I haven't seen the miss. I would love to get your thoughts on it. I know you've both got different angles in the ground. What were your thoughts on that? And then Tom, will come to you as well to give your thoughts on Lenny, because I'm getting tired of we don't need to defend him. He's a great player and he offers a lot. But it just feels he's the magnet for everything. Sorry, I'm getting so animated. I smashed my microphone. What were your thoughts on the miss?
So the miss, I sit right behind that goal. And for me, it was McAtee's to score. He should never have passed it. It was an easy goal for him. Maybe Lenny should have been a bit more prepared in case, but it was McAtee's goal, really. I guess people just don't like strikers who don't, show a lot up front, but Lenny offers so much across the pitch. Like he ran and ran yesterday. He really did.
And Bruce, what did you think of it?
I don't have a problem with people gauging, giving opinion on players, and that's what we do. That's what we do on the podcast. Like
I would not have a Twitter account or a podcast.
We talk about, but I don't have a problem with that, and I love the fact that there are people who, this seems to have it's chalk and cheese. There's no middle ground with Lenny. People either, the players obviously think very highly of him, and we don't always, and Paul Hurst always said, hasn't he, the players, and you could see, I mentioned on the pod last week, when he scored at Bromsgrove, Giles Coates pushing him towards the fans. He obviously knows that, he obviously really cares about him as a teammate, and also and also maybe knows that he was maybe a bit low on confidence. Like I said,
could that have played anything? Well, you know, when Hannah was just saying, and sorry for interrupting, that it was McAtee's to score. If the players love him so much, they've seen the article that came out this week, they've seen some of the grief, though the vast majority of stuff I saw, especially from Liam Emerson's video at Bromsgrove and such, very supportive and alike, that perhaps he was going, well, if I can square this to Lenny, he can put it away and it will shut those lot up. Do you even think that crosses his mind? Just looking for things?
Obviously we're in completely the wrong place for that opportunity, because we're low down. We're at the Osmond end of the lower. You really can't get a clear view of that. But I don't think, if you've got a guy going through on goal and he's got a goalkeeper in front of him, or he can square it to somebody who he thinks is unmarked that's got a tap in, then I don't blame him. Now, if the pass wasn't quite good enough, then you go back to McAtee and say, but I was thinking about this before we came on, because I knew that it would come up, and we're playing Lenny when he's clearly not at his sharpest, and he's not maybe 100% match fit. And is this again? There's a couple of
he's only played a couple of matches.
There's a couple of angles I've got on this. We go back to the old thing about the not having reserve games, and we, where does he get his match fitness from? But then does it also go back to the conversations and the discussions that we've had across various pods of, are we a striker light in the squad? You know, should we have been trying? Should we be having to play somebody that's not fully fit? That, you know, the week before, he's finding his feet, isn't he? And does he do that in the first team, or do we find somewhere else for him to do that?
It's interesting. Tom looks riveted by this chat. He really is. He's looking more desolate than a Man United fan today. Do you have any? The floodlights are clean. Do you have anything to add to it, Tom, at all? Have you got any thoughts? I don't think we've actually had your thoughts on it.
Of course. I'll
get comfy.
So start from the beginning. It sounds like it wasn't pretty, but it was a solid win. So I think we should overall focus on that. That's a really big positive, that we're winning ugly. And then great to see McAtee get another nice goal. Let's face it was from about 20 yards out. It was a good finish. And it's also, while everyone's piling in on Lenny, great to see Lenny continue his scoring form. He's scored in 2 games on the trot now. And just to correct your earlier point, Alex, actually his penalty record this season is 66%, not 50, because he's had 3 penalties and scored 2 of them.
I was talking about, hang on, I was talking about until that penalty was taken. Thank you.
Sorry.
And I would also like you to recategorize that none of us were piling in. We were having a discussion.
I know you're not. I'm talking about people on social media and stuff.
I know you may have Mr. Barber in your ear, like with a gun to your head, going, come on. You know how much Lenny is. And
further to that, Lenny was the 14th different player to score a goal this season in the league for us. So we are genuinely getting goals from all over the park, and
you're the stats man.
We achieved our 7th clean sheet yesterday in, I think, 12 league games. 12 games overall. That might be
including Bromsgrove.
Including Bromsgrove.
Yeah,
and then
games,
further to that, Bapaglia was involved again in win the penalties. So we've got dangerous players all over the pitch. And then just to compound the point on Lenny being a good player for the team, Baz Whittleton on Twitter earlier said, rather than tweet about a 10-second incident in a 90-minute performance, it was a terrible miss and can't be excused. But if people got over thinking his role is an out-and-out striker and looked at his actual role, which is to provide a physical presence and an out ball, they'd calm down. And he's really, almost bang on the money there. If you look at the Bromsgrove game and how he brought other players into play to allow us to break forward on the wings and get crosses into the box, you'd realise Lenny's value to the squad. And clearly, when everybody jumped around him, not just yesterday, but after the goal that he scored against Bromsgrove, he's clearly not just someone who brings lots playing wise. He's also someone who brings lots to the squad as a player, just as a human being.
Tom, as a stats man, and apologies, I'll come back to what you were saying. In terms of the amount of players we've had score, I mean, it might be obviously misconstrued by the fact that Ian Holloway brought in about 3,500 players. Can you work out a percentage of how many of the playing squad have scored? This must be up there. And I'm waiting until we hit 37 goals so I can come out and go, we've now matched the same amount of league goals that we scored last season. Because I assume that'll come up within a couple of weeks if we continue on this trend. It's an interesting one. Another comment that was made and sort of alluding to what you said was put on the fishy that for those who understand what Lenny does, have a better understanding perhaps of the complexities of the game and what is needed, rather than he striker, he score, he no score, he rubbish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, without a doubt. Hannah's nodding, Bruce is nodding. I think
I just nod to look like I'm in the gang.
That's just the way it goes, isn't it? Like, I'm sure lots of people watched the Man United Liverpool game earlier today. The first goal that Liverpool scored was Salah laying the ball off to a central midfielder to open the scoring. That's what good centre forwards do. They are able to pick out another player when the time is right.
Overall, everybody, what were your thoughts on the game as well? It was a good win. Yeovil, Bruce, did you go to Woking?
No, mate. No.
If anybody did go to Woking and who's listening in, can you give us an idea? Because both Hannah and Bruce and other people have said Tom did go to Woking, though we didn't see him. He went off to hang around with his cool Cod Almighty crew. What I'd like to know is, we were told that both Hannah, Bruce, and a couple of other people on social media have said that Yeovil were a really tough team we came up against. If you watched both that game and the Yeovil game, could you give us an idea of where they are in comparison to Woking? Because I thought they would, for me so far, they're the team that have given us the toughest game, and I include the one where Bromley's shithousery ended with our only defeat in the league so far. So it'd be really good to hear from some on that too. Bruce, what were you going to say?
I think the bits that I saw and listened to from Woking, and obviously yesterday, they didn't really have a great threat yesterday. They worked hard, but I think looking at the highlights that I saw of Woking, they did have 2 or 3 genuine chances in the game. So we'll be interested to see, like you say, people that are listening that have seen both games. But what I will say, we noticed in the first few minutes, I don't know if Hannah sort of thought the same, but they had a really tall centre forward yesterday, and in the first few minutes, he was giving Towler in particular an absolute. He looked like he was in for a really tough afternoon. But I thought he and Waterfall were the 2 standouts yesterday. I thought they were both absolutely superb. And if you Towler, like I say, first few minutes looked like he was going to get out muscled and just really harried about, but his class shone through after a few minutes. He adapted to the game. Whether their work rate just dropped a little because they're tired or what, but the centre backs just grew stronger and stronger as the game went on, and we just don't look like Luke Waterfall. He talking just around the game yesterday. He's just a player reborn. I mean, he's you see him just talking to the ref, just having a quiet word, because the referee yesterday was some very odd decisions again.
I got the klaxon out.
What, shit ref?
Shit ref klaxon, yeah. I mean, it's very hard not to use it at all times. He let some weird, some heavy things go, and he let some things that were like almost non-existent with them fouls, and
it was inconsistent. But I won't dwell on that. But I did notice, while our players there was an incident where there was a bit of pushing and shoving, and I just noticed Waterfall had just stood to one side and had a quiet word with the ref, and obviously getting his point across in a sensible manner. He wasn't, didn't look overly animated. He wasn't going, and he just looks so calm. And him and Towler just anything in the air at the back, they just mop up. And who would have thought at the start of the season that Long King and I know we had players missing yesterday with COVID, but who would have thought that Long King and Pearson wouldn't be? What the hell is going on in your room? That Long King and Pearson would not be first choice at the start of the season, and here we are with Waterfall and Towler.
I was going to mention the same, Bruce. That I felt like Towler, it was like his first real challenge, and he really showed his quality yesterday. I thought Harry Clifton is really turning into a goal threat as well. He had a miss that would have been incredible if it went in, but yeah, he's looking quite strong going forwards, Harry Clifton.
Agreed. Yeah, he had I think again it was a little bit like the one that McAtee miscontrolled at Altrincham, and then he put it in after that good move. And yesterday I think somebody just miscontrolled it in the box, or it just broke to him, and he hit it. And it was one of those ones that if he hit it too, he almost hit it too well, and it was a nice height for the keeper. But it was a really good save. You mean the one in front of the pontoon, don't you?
Yeah.
And it was a really good save, but. If he'd have scuffed it or he'd gone on the floor, I don't think the keeper would have stood a chance because he was probably only on the penalty spot. But yeah, I agree. He's definitely one of the players, a bit like Waterfall, that he's just oozing confidence at the moment, and you can just see the difference that it's made to them.
Absolutely, and we're table topping in so many ways. The Grimsby Town women's team are absolutely top. 5-0 victory, I believe it was today, and Dale Houston's just come on to sort of bookend the Lenny chat, as well as all the other praise we're giving for players at the moment. Lenny was immense yesterday. Yes, he missed a couple of chances, but he brought so much to the game. If you've got any thoughts on what happened throughout the game, if you've got an idea of sort of who was toughest between Yeovil and Woking, then please do put them in the chat. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you can add them in. And also, we've got Paul Franklin, who's going to come on in a minute. He's going to talk to us about Wealdstone and what we've got coming up on Tuesday down in North London, or up in North London for me. We'll have a quick chat. So if anyone's got any questions, please do put them in the chat and we'll throw them over to him. Tom, what have you got on that? Actually, before we do, anyone got anything to add on the Yeovil? We can always come back to it. Paul is listening to us intently about Yeovil. I know they're sort of sharing the same league space at the moment, but they might not want to. Tom, what were you going to say about Wealdstone? Because I'll be honest, apart from I go past it every now and then when I'm driving into town, I don't really know anything about it.
Well, I've just got my usual brief preview, which I've also done for Notts County next Saturday. So Wealdstone currently 17th in the league, played 12, won 2, drawn 5, lost 5, 4-11 against 19. They've only won 1 in the last 6 in the league, and their top scorer is Umara, who's got 6 goals. And their last 3 games, they drew yesterday away at Weymouth, lost to Dagenham Redbridge in the FA Cup 4th qualifying round the week before, and then the week before that they lost to Eastleigh. They lost Dagenham 2-1 and then lost to Eastleigh 2-1. They were the first ever team to do a non-league double, which is winning the conference and the FA trophy. At this level, holy grail, I have to say. And that was
Tom will not let that defeat to Halifax go.
Any of the FA trophy final defeats go. And ex-Mariner Wes Parker was a fairly long time captain of Wealdstone. And then manager Stuart Maynard. And I think pre-conference days being full of ex-non-league teams, if you look back at Wealdstone's records, I'm thinking sort of maybe sort of 2005. Wealdstone probably would have been considered as like a non-league heavyweight It's only since, or their trophy cabinet is such they've won the FA Trophy multiple times.
Do they have a puffin in it though? Do they have a puffin in there? Because if not, we win hands down.
Several times, won the conference, pre-automatic promotion days, and obviously being in the London area as well. I think they probably would have been considered a non-league heavyweight, as I said, and it's a tough game for us. It's going to be a long trip on a Tuesday night. And naturally, as I'm sure Paul will be pleased to hear it, I would say it rates highly on the tin pot klaxometer. I'd give it a 9.
You've got to explain it to Paul, because he might not know that you're being sarcastic and deriding. He might just think you're. Let's bring him in then, so
it comes on.
So you can at least then tell him what you mean, because there are enough there will be enough town fans that will use the word tin pot. I am slightly worried that this new flag we've bought may be bigger than the away stand. But Paul, it is a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for joining us. How is everything down in the capital?
Well, I've had COVID 10 days. So I've only been out a couple of days, so it's
stay away from Paul. Brilliant.
It's probably warmer down here. It probably is up north, but generally that it is. But it's all good down here. We're looking forward to Tuesday. I think listening to you talking about the history of Wealdstone and being a non-league heavyweight would have been. They've had some sort of fallow years in the last 10, 15 years and been a bit nomadic due to different management and ownership reasons. And, they're now back at the top table where many fans want them to be. And we're just enjoying the ride. So, listen, anyone can call Wealdstone tin pot. We really don't mind. I think we thrive on it a little bit. And especially if it's tongue in cheek, we know that people do respect where we're at and what we're doing in relation to some of these bigger clubs that we tend to call belts, these non-league clubs that I think feel like they should be in the Football League and be higher than they are. So, we have as much banter about that as you do, guys, do talk about maybe the likes of Wealdstone and some of the smaller teams that are down here in the National League.
Do you have a roof?
Got a roof, yes.
Thank Christ for that. We went to Bromley and it was biblical. I drowned. And it was not fun.
Your way of sale is good. You've got a standing area as well as a seating area. You have Lynn's Burger Van. The only reason the burger is where it is because it's actually marooned inside the ground. They can't get it out. So you get the Burger Van as away fans on the Tuesday.
That sounds a very town thing, that would be.
Not necessarily a good back. So if the wind was horizontal, you might get a little bit cold and wet. But you should be able to create an atmosphere. We had Southend Bank Holiday weekend. We brought several hundred, and it does add to it because we get the smaller crowds in the National League. So any away support adds to it. It means that the segregation is there, unfortunately, but it allows the Stones fans to sort of be congregating one end of the ground to sort of create the atmosphere that we need. So, listen, we're looking forward to it. If someone said that Wealdstone were playing Grimsby even 2 years ago, we'd be telling you that you're talking daft. So we just got to relish the opportunities we're having at the moment to play these bigger sides.
What is the aim for the season? Where are you aiming for? And is it going as well as you hoped at the moment?
Do you know what? That's a loaded question, because if you spoke to the fan base, it's probably not going as well as we expect, purely because of how well we started the season. We went toe to toe with Dagenham, drew 2 all away from home when we were leading twice when they were top of the league and in a good run of form. We went to the Meadow Lane, Notts County, lost 3-2, and on another day would have probably got a draw if the referee was slightly better and slightly better in defending at the end of the first half. We came down to earth with a bump. We lost 5-0 away at Torquay at Plainmoor on a sort of wet and cold afternoon, and we got unstuck a little bit. And since then, the management team have sort of regressed into this real, I guess, negative way of possession-based football, but not trying to get beat, but not creating much. And the fans have they're not particularly happy with that. And I think it's not so much that we expect to be mid-table or challenging for playoffs. It's what we've seen of the squad has been so much more what we're getting in the last few matches. We lost to Eastleigh at home 2-1. We let a last-minute goal in after we clawed back and was 1-1 with a few minutes to go. We lost to Dagenham in the FA Cup. They had 10 men for 88 minutes. We were 1-0 up with 4 minutes to go, going down the hill with a first round proper tie in the bag with 4 minutes to go, and we lost 2-1. So you can imagine the ire of the supporters wasn't pleasant. So we stopped the slide a little bit on Saturday, drew 1-1 with Weymouth away. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but the second half, slightly more expansive football going forward, sort of put a bit of pressure on a team that you expect to get points out of in that sort of mini league that we're down at the bottom end of. Lost one of our lads after making 3 subs. So they played the last 10 minutes with 10 men. So to get the 1-1 draw away from home and sort of arrest that slide was good. And I think, Tuesday for us is a free hit. No, I don't think any Wealdstone fan expects us to take anything out of the game. If we can, then that's brilliant. We've got to target the games in and around us that, teams in and around us to try and get points, because the ultimate goal is, for you, I guess, is to get promoted. For us, is to stay up.
And I know Tom has his tin pot klaxon, sort of his tin pot meter. I have a little bit of another one, which is a bit of a worry, which is sort of the revenge one. We've got 2 former Mariners in the current playing squad at Wealdstone. We've got Ira Jackson Jr., who many town fans would have actually liked to have seen stay in the club this season. And we've also got Reece Brown, who played yonks ago now, it feels, for town after he joined Aldershot. How are they both doing there? Is Ira expected to start? Because I would be honest, we don't want to see him start just because Murphy's Law would suggest he's bagging a hat trick.
Listen, Stuart Maynard may start him with that in mind. For Ira, he came into the team where they weren't doing so badly. So I think he started as a sub. He scored on his debut. We drew 2-2. I can't remember who we drew 2-2 against now. I've got it on here somewhere. We drew 2-2 at home to Aldershot and he scored. He then got sent off away at Kings Lynn, so had a 3-match ban. So he's just come back into the squad in the last couple of weeks and has started on the bench. But we've loaned a lad from MK Dons called Bird. So he's been playing, Jay Bird, he's been playing. Jackson's sort of the third of the 3 forwards that we've got at the moment. Uma is scoring the 6 goals in 11-12 games. He may well start Tuesday. He may, the manager may freshen it up, be a little bit more expansive at home, have a go at Grimsby and try and play on the front foot. Who knows? And Jackson may well, with the thinking of him being an ex-player and wanting a little bit of revenge, who knows, he may play.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of what sort of style of football, aside from possession, have you got should we be shitting it come set pieces? I imagine in my head, Josh Uma is 7'8", and he's even taller than any Woking player. What can we expect in terms of the attacking threats?
We play a 3-5-2, so they wing backs. The problem we've got is the ball hasn't been in the final third enough to really sort of put teams under pressure. We're very good at keeping the ball. We're not the biggest side in the world, and I think that's one of the criticisms. The National League, I don't know what League 2 was like, League 1, but the National League is just full of these very physical, imposing centre midfield, centre half players who all seem to be 6'2", 6'3". I know Woking are exceptional. I think 11 of them are 6'2" plus. But no, we're quite diminutive. We've got a couple of bigger lads. Cooper, who come off injured on Saturday, hopefully he'll play. The son of Mark Cooper, and grandson of Terry Cooper, who used to play for Leeds. He's very good on dead balls. I think we scored from a dead ball on Saturday to get at the draw. It could be a tactic against Grimsby. Obviously, I've not really taken much notice in terms of how you guys have been playing. I've seen your results, so we're not a big side. We're not physical. We keep the ball. We try and play football. We're hoping that we do that going forward rather than just retain it in the first and middle thirds. And set pieces may well be something that we need to sort of capitalise on against obviously a very strong Grimsby team.
It'd be interesting to see, Alex, then, because I think we've played better against the teams that try and play football. I think the games
you get a bit more room, don't you?
The games have become more scrappy when we've played against the big physical lumps, and where we've had like we say, they just kept lumping it long yesterday, and all right, they didn't get into our penalty area really, but they gave our centre halves a real sort of working over, and it doesn't sound then in that case like we're expecting that sort of game at Wealdstone, so it should be quite an entertaining game. I have checked out the weather. Claire's grandma was round early, and we had country fire along with the weekly forecast, and it looks like we're going to get away with a dry evening, so that should be good.
Thank Christ for that. I still haven't dried out from Bromley. That's the new level.
I'm guessing that we've not got a Wealdstone Mariner for the pre-match sort of paper, the stuff we get from Christine and the SLO. Before Paul goes, I think we need to find a decent pub where we can get some food and drink, because we'll be down there.
Well, ask away. Paul, where can we drink and where can we eat?
Where can we drink and have a reasonable meal?
We're right in sort of suburban northwest London.
It's Ruislip, isn't it?
It's commuter part of London. Right, Weatherspoon's opposite, and that.
Has anybody else lost Paul, or is it just me?
I thought it was my internet.
Okay, same here. Tom was nodding intently for a while, so I was like, "Oh, it just must be me."
I've just been my internet's been on and off since we started, and I've been switching between my hotspot and my own internet, and I was just frantically on my phone trying to sort it out, and then you just came on and went, "Oh, can anybody hear Paul?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll just stop what I'm doing then." The internet's better up north than it is down south, then, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruislip. Ruislip must have about 6 tube stations. So if you go to Ruislip Manor or Ruislip tube station, you're on the high street, Ruislip Manor High Street, and within 10 minutes of Vale. There's plenty of places to it. You'll probably bump into some Stones fans.
Alex, are you struggling to hear Paul at all?
Yeah, I'm afraid so, man.
Yeah,
Paul,
if this was Talk Sport, we'd say we'll get Paul back on another line, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Do we have other lines?
Yeah. Have we arrested him one? Have we got fibre to Paul?
Yeah, exactly. Paul, what we'll do is if you disconnect and come back on, we'll have a quick chat, and then we'll bring you on and ask you where we can drink.
Okay.
All right. See you in a minute.
I thought I've asked the bloody question, and he's going to be talking, and I won't have a bloody clue what he's on about, because I thought it was me.
Bruce broke Wealdstone.
And he asked for a pint.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know what we've got. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm bringing the flag, which we got. It's too big for the house, which is slightly worrying.
I hope they don't have those rules where you're not allowed to cover advertising hoardings, or you will be screwed.
I'm slightly worried that I'll be covering a stand. It's 10 foot by 5 foot. Yeah, Hannah, I didn't look. I just went, I'll have the biggest one, and it it was only 40 quid.
In my garden, Alex.
I'm in Surrey. It's the same. It's the same sort of width of our garden here. Paul, where can we drink?
You hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you're good, man.
I don't know how much you heard before, but
none of it.
Ruislip.
You said I'm Paul, and I'm from Wales, and I'm a Wealdstone fan, and then nothing after that.
So all I know is it the Ruislip one next to the Waitrose?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, I know where I am. So the rest of you are screwed, but I'm fine.
Ruislip tube station or Ruislip Manor tube station. Shops and pubs. The Ruislip Manor, the Weatherspoons opposite. Ruislip High Street Hop and Vine. Won't go.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Fine, you're fine.
good stuff. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy it on Tuesday. We would not be surprised if we get our arse proverbially handed to us. We've been down here too many times now to not expect it. But we hope you enjoy it, and good luck for the rest of the season if we don't speak to you beforehand.
Yeah, and we enjoy having you bigger clubs down and having the battle. Enjoy coming to the Vale. It's certainly different. The different are, and good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, mate. See you later. Thanks. Right. So, has anybody got anything else to add on Wealdstone, what they're hoping for? And then we've got Tom, you did a bit on Kidderminster as well, didn't you? Adam, it will not be ironic if it goes up. I'll be deeply disturbed and I'll have to buy a bigger flag.
I've got a question about Wealdstone. What pubs can we drink in?
Right, let's look it up. I'm going on it. You lot talk about it. Bruce, this is why my face keeps changing, because every time I'm writing, I have to use one screen at the moment. Non-league ground review.
Here we go. Right.
Here we go. Wealdstone.
Tom, score prediction for Tuesday. Oh man.
This is technical nightmare. What's going on
tonight? What's going on tonight? Sorry, Tom.
I've got some.
Bloody hell, we're dropping like flies.
Everybody's gone.
What's going on?
It makes my scalp.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good there. Stay there. Don't move.
For a second, yes.
Bruce, shut up. So, Notts County, 8th, played 12, won 6, drawn 3, lost 3, 422 against 16. They've actually, I think, even though they're 8th, I think they're like the 5th top scorers in the division, if I remember rightly. And they've won 3 of the last 6 in the league and lost the other 3. They've got 2 top scorers on 6 goals, Kyle Wharton and Ruben Rodriguez. And then they've got Callum Roberts closely behind on 4, but he's also had 5 yellows. So he might be suspended. I can't remember when the cut-off is for like 5 and 10 yellow cards. And then their last 3, they beat Stockport yesterday. And there was 7,418 there. So I guess we should expect a good following from them, which would be nice. Might make it like the Wrexham game, really good sort of big game atmosphere. And then the previous 2 games before that were against Tamworth in the Cup. So they drew 0-0 initially and then beat Tamworth at home in a replay 4-0. And their manager's Ian Birchnell. I think we definitely need to be on it for that game. Obviously, it's definitely got that sort of Wrexham feel that we had earlier on in the season. It's quite interesting to note that sort of Chesterfield, Wrexham, and Notts County all seem to be pushing on now, and their marquee signings and players seem to be scoring and contributing to games. Like I can't remember how you say his name. That guy at Chesterfield, Tishmanga or whatever he's called, and Rowe were both scoring. They were both involved in the goals yesterday. Mullins scored yesterday, and then that Ruben Rodriguez scored yesterday. I don't know what Bruce, Hannah, and yourself think, Alex, if you've been looking at it. But I feel like the pressure moments are coming behind. Even though we're doing well, the pressure moments are coming behind.
Johnny McAtee scored yesterday. Our marquee. No, I agree. I think if you're going to win this league, you've got to be a winning machine, haven't you? And just be relentless. This season you're going to need 100 points to get promoted automatically. And
we only got 20 and we're safe.
Yeah, brilliant. But but yeah, you just got to keep winning, haven't you? And you're right. I mean, all right, you'd probably take 3 points and then a point on Saturday, but even a point on Saturday, then somebody else gets closer, don't they? So whether you stay at the top or it's going to be a long season to be a front runner all season. It'd be amazing if you could achieve that. But like you say, there's certainly some hard games to come.
But we've played a lot of hard games already, which is also one of the things that I'm taking a lot of solace from. We've played a lot of the big players already. We're only a quarter of the way through the season. We've played probably the two favourites at the start of the year. We've played the playoff finalists as well from last year. We've had a tough run. And aside from probably Chesterfield and maybe Dagenham and Redbridge, who've been, and Boreham Wood, who are the surprise candidates, I don't think we're missing anyone who won't be at this end of the season, really. It's going to be interesting. Sorry,
in
mate.
about a month's time, I think we play those 3 on the trot.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. When's that? Hang on, let's have a look.
Pretty sure it's the end of November. I think it's round about my birthday time.
That is a terrible birthday present. Let's have a look. Yeah. See what... I've gone automatically to League 2. That's embarrassing.
No, the other thing that I had to add was Kiddie Watch, because we're playing them in the next round of the Cup.
Can we change the name of that, please? This isn't Crew Alexandra.
I did that on purpose, obviously.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. You sound like Pete Townsend.
They won 5-1 yesterday against Bradford Park Avenue.
They're not a real team, are they? I thought they were off a biscuit tin. Bradford Park Avenue. Anyway, let's have a look. Hannah, when you say, so we've got Boreham Wood, Dagenham and Redbridge, Chesterfield and Halifax all within, towards the end of November. 27th, 4th of December, the 11th and 26th. That is a pain in the arse run at Christmas.
Oh, well, they're all screwed. They're all screwed, aren't they, then?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be 10 points clear by Christmas.
Well, 4 points already. So the questions that people came in and asked were, by the way, Adam keeps at least doing the right thing and coming in and talking with us, saying that he thinks Town are going to win 4-0 on Tuesday and then 3-2 on Saturday. That's positivity, that is. Some were asking sort of like against the tickets purchased and the attendances we're actually getting. This is all tickets issued, including sort of, family tickets and tickets that we give to schools. Is it time that we reduce the number of tickets we give to schools now we lose? Because they get a pretty good part in the family stand. If they're not being taken up, is there another way they could be distributed? I see lots of shaking heads, but we are losing a lot of tickets to them, aren't we?
Aren't there quite a lot of exiles that have just bought tickets as a token? I don't know.
It'd be good to know.
But it's half term as well. Maybe that's come into play.
Yeah, maybe people are on Ollie Bobs. It's just one of these things that we're going to have. But I know, when I look at the main stand, that large part of the main stand where the family stand is usually quite empty. I don't know whether or not because it can't be a restricted view with the barrier on the left hand side, but I would imagine that's where the tickets for the schools are being given. It's just a shame if we're missing out on an opportunity because it's getting rammed. Bruce, were you in the Osmond again?
No, I was back in my normal seat in the dry lower, but just a couple of points on that. I agree with Hannah. I've said to people that I think there's a combination. I mean, we were 500 or 600 tickets. Sorry, 500 or 600 people clicking through the turnstiles down yesterday, weren't we? I've heard a couple of people say that their ticket wasn't scanned correctly. So they maybe checked it, but the scanner didn't work and they couldn't wait with the queue, so people went through. So whether there's anything in that, I don't know. I also think, like Hannah, that this season with the change in ownership, that there's maybe been a number of exiles who can't make every game that have purchased a season ticket as in support of the club and the regime change. And it'll also be on Saturday. Unfortunately, I don't see the crowd being massively bigger than what we've had because I don't think that Notts County will. I don't think they'll sell out the Osmond. They haven't got a history of travelling in massive numbers. They brought a lot the season that we stayed up, and they wanted to go up. or they wanted to win the league. But apart from that, I don't remember them bringing much more than 800 or 1,000 with them. So as a result of them going in the Osman, there's no Town fans in the Osman next week. So there will be Town fans that went on Saturday that can't get a ticket next week. When was the last time we had effectively people locked out that couldn't get in?
And I think that's hopefully, yeah. Tom, go ahead.
I'll finish what you wanted to say, and I'll come in after that.
Oh, it wasn't anything. It was just that it would be nice to have an opportunity where maybe communications abound. So look, I can't get my ticket. If the club want it, this is the seat that's free. Sell it, sort of thing. If there's some way of doing that.
The seat exchange thing is obviously an option now with technology or whatever. I think a couple of people on the Twattersphere suggested that
I'm on that.
We should, we should stop giving tickets to local schools. Obviously, those people who suggest that lack any kind of foresight and an ability to see into the future where our future fans might come from. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I went on a free schools ticket to Blundell Park from Ingham Elsmere.
Paying for anything?
I can probably put money on some of our listeners, or even you two, like having gone to Blundell Park on a free schools ticket when you were younger. Like that, me going to Blundell Park on a free schools ticket, definitely. I was already a Grimsby Town fan then, but I was definitely pleased to go on a free schools ticket. And all right, I'm only one person, but I'm one person that's still going to Blundell Park 20 years later, and have been going every year 20 years later, and was going before that as well. So, all right, you might lose a few people on a match day now, but if you get a percentage of those supporters are still going 20 years later, that's surely got to be a positive. And not every school ticket is going to go to someone that's parents want to take them to a Grimsby Town game, unfortunately. That's just the reality of giving free tickets to schools. But it's very short-sighted to just say, well, we're not going to give free tickets to schools. So, yes, it's disappointing that 7,000 tickets weren't validated on the day, but as Bruce said, there's probably, like you went to Woking, Alex, my ticket at Woking didn't get scanned.
Mine did, because I'm a responsible football fan, so I waited because I didn't want the fire officer to be, worried.
But we had reports of other people's tickets not getting scanned.
Absolutely.
I think that's the modern way, in it. Like, with the virtual tickets, it's like the technology don't work first time, where a beautiful serrated edge, all you have to do is tear it off and it goes in the pot. The benefit to paper tickets is there for everyone to see. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, we can't argue that, can we? I guess the only thing that I would like to say, I think the school. I mean, if I had my way, anyone under the age of 18 would never have to pay to get into Blundell Park, because I think to support that would be the best way of securing our future. There might be better ways, though, of being able to distribute those tickets. I don't know, but I'm sure the club have got far more intelligent people nowadays in charge than I. And also, just before I move on to Bruce, I just want to say as well about Debbie. Debbie was going around the disabled fans yesterday, just talking to them about their experiences and how they're finding the games. That they've got an architect coming in the next couple of weeks just to have a look at seeing if they can improve the facilities, which are very let's be honest, there isn't any facilities for the disabled fans, and to be able to give them. And my dad, who goes with Jack, who's 99 years old and is a born and bred Town fan, sort of. He's noticed there is a huge amount more of disabled fans going at the moment than there have been over the last couple of seasons. And as such, the facilities are almost packed to bursting. Bruce, what were you going to say?
Just a couple of things. You just reminded me there. Yesterday, there was a particularly, I don't know if Hannah remembers, but there was a particularly, John McAtee cleared the ball down in the Harrington corner, quite sort of with a bit of force, to try and kick it off one of their defenders, and it actually caught former press officer Dale Ladson on the back of the head, knocking him to the ground, and he split his head open. So I think he obviously was not looking. I think he was queuing for the burger van or something. But I think we just send the best wishes of the pod to Dale. And what else I was going to say, the ticket thing, I'm not sure how they work, but maybe they could have a limited lifespan, so they give them out in the week. And if they haven't, we're selling a lot of tickets Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. Maybe if they've not been redeemed by Thursday evening, then that voucher is no longer useful and those tickets are made available for sale. That might work quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's quite a few ways you could be done, and I'm sure they're looking at it. And the green seats thing will always keep appearing because we never thought we'd ever have this problem. They were talking. We've had Andrew and John on here saying, "Look, Jason, coming on saying, look, we don't need to move grounds because we can't fill this one." Well, unfortunately, we've moved that problem a bit up the agenda, I think. So all I can say is Guildford Cricket Club have loads of temporary seats and they ain't using them this winter. So give them a call and borrow them off them for a tenner or something. They might be able to, give them to you. Also, something happened 20 years ago, apparently. Need to mention the 20-year anniversary of Newcastle's win so I can mention the article, said Pigeon John. Tom, are you writing an article about winning at Newcastle 20 years ago, which was today, apparently, according to Bruce?
It was 29 years ago.
29 years ago.
1992.
No,
Am I thinking
Bruce, So Bruce mentioned in our WhatsApp group that it was the anniversary of Dobbin scoring the winner at St James's Park this weekend, I believe. Is that correct, Bruce?
It is, mate. It was a great day. I did invite him on the pod. I did invite him on the pod tonight. But,
all right, you can go on about that in a minute. Let me just finish my little plug and then you can carry on.
Sorry, I thought you just right. Go on. Okay.
So on note, Pat Bell, who writes for COD Almighty.
His plug's not going. I've lost him. He's gone.
Shall I talk now? He stopped.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it was a really good day. And
what day? What was the weather like?
I couldn't see really. Well, no, it was quiet. It was just a long time ago. 29 years ago, though. It's mental. There were 900 in the corner. We were an all ticket 900. That was all they gave us. And it's one of those ones where when you ask around to people of a certain age, you'd think about 5,000 went. But yeah, we more than maxed them that day, and Dobbin had already hit the bar in the first half. So, but yeah, the locals weren't best pleased. There was quite a lot of stuff coming over the fence, and we were old school. We were locked in after the game for 15 or 20 minutes while they tried to clear the disgruntled Geordies.
Oh, he's gone. But, I mean, the Newcastle fans of late have been a rational bunch, I've found. So that doesn't sound like them at all. Especially from that article yesterday from their fanzine, likening their the vilification of their fan base of sort of lauding their new Saudi Arabian owners, as comparing it to those who Liverpool fans had suffered during Hillsborough, which was very tactful.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That, but I just
sorry, Bruce, I didn't know. Right. Go ahead.
No, Kevin Keegan. Just going to finish with a bit of praise for them. Kevin Keegan was very gracious again, as he was with Fulham, and as he's proven on the occasions when Town have beaten his sides. I believe he went on the team coach after the game and congratulated the Town players, which I think is a touch of class when you've just lost your winning start, 11-game winning run at the start of the season.
We bought him booze at the end. What's he complaining about? I mean, all in all, things are going really well. I mean, we've got to talk about a couple of things. So obviously it's been announced that 2 players have got COVID. We can only, that rumours are abound as being local in a fishbowl, that everybody knows who they are, but we won't talk about sort of identities, but we wish them all the best, and we hope that sort of they get a clean bill of health as soon as possible, and they're hopefully asymptomatic, so they're not sort of currently coughing their guts up or doing anything that is worrisome. And also we've sort of got to congratulate the women's team who have had an exceptional start, 5-0 win today as well. They've started their season absolutely blindingly. All in all, things have been going far too well. I don't really know how. I'm worried. That's what I'm genuinely saying. Is it feels like we've got a lot to lose. It's going so well. I'm so negative.
I think we're just not used to it. We're always the underdog, aren't we?
I don't like it.
Weird.
Bruce, how have you found it? Because you've probably gone to more. You and Hannah go to more games than anyone. Like, I don't get to. I'm not up London Park. What's it like? My dad was actually a bit critical yesterday, like on the phone this morning, saying there's been quite a few newbies who are acting a bit like twats, to be entirely honest, and they were getting a bit aggy. And apparently there was a bit of disruption yesterday in the Osmond as well. But I don't want to sort of dwell on that. But how is it all going? How is it? What does Blundell Park feel like? Because I don't know.
Well, first of all, yesterday, as we queued for the fan zone, there was a turnstile open near the fan zone, which was quite strange to see. I don't know when we last used those turnstiles. You know, in the constitutional corner, it was just near the fan zone.
Get some WD-40 on them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe those things didn't click round properly. Then maybe that's where the missing 500 were in the Osmond. But I didn't see the Osmond looked like it had got a great atmosphere yesterday. Whether because it was opening, people had waited till it went on sale, knowing that they could go in the Osmond. I see there were notes in the paper. There were notes in the programme. In Andrew Pettit's notes, I think it was, just asking the fans to be sensible and keep behaving themselves in the Osmond, because obviously they are closer to the away fans, and be respectful to them. There was a bit of chanting aimed in their direction, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. But I know we've talked about it before, but the atmosphere yesterday was a little bit what's the word? Less. The fans were a little bit less vocal.
I found that
yesterday.
Every home game, every away game I've been to so far, I found the atmosphere, which is, I mean, we've got a high standard for atmosphere. Like, I found it quite disappointing at Bromley and at Woking and at Maidenhead.
I thought Maidenhead was a little bit different. Well, the problem is
you were in the mess, weren't you? I guess, like where we were in that corner.
And a roof makes a massive difference to atmosphere as well. It was the atmosphere at Woking. The atmosphere at Altrincham was good, but like I say, we probably had I don't know 400 town fans in the Osmond yesterday, and it was really loud. A decent roof on a stand makes such a difference. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like Tuesday night, because somebody said we'd sold 500 or 600 tickets last week. So you would think, people realising it's half term and it doesn't matter if the kids are laying on Wednesday morning, does it? So, you'd hope that there might be sort of 700 maybe again, which would be magnificent again down in London. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, the atmosphere just was a bit strange yesterday. So whether the new fans that we're attracting or the returning fans, they need to see something on the pitch to get them going, rather than having to realise to get going themselves to help the team get going, if that makes sense. And we've turned up and we've rolled some teams over, haven't we, already at home? So maybe 1-0. We said right at the start yesterday, the way they started, we were going to have to grind it out a bit like Eastleigh, and that was the way it proved, really. So yeah, maybe the fans, do need to get going a little bit more. Do our bit.
Yeah. And it'd be nice that we've talked about it a bit, but obviously, as you can imagine, you've got a few people around you that don't know the songs or don't feel, haven't been there for a bit and feel a bit of a tit screaming, we don't have Fenty anymore at the top of their lungs. I mean, it might not be, what they're used to. It'll take a bit of time, but us old guard need to, shout out loud and get it going, because we've got a team at the moment that's worthy of the support. And you feel like sometimes the effort we've put in numbers and in vocal support that we've given to some teams that haven't deserved it, these guys do, and we need to step up and give as good as they give, because I mean, these sort of opportunities in these moments don't come along that often, do they?
And I suppose as well that when you've got people that are coming for the first time, it's going to take them a while to find their place in the ground.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain parts of the ground that allow,
especially when you can't buy a ticket there at the moment.
Well, it was interesting. It was interesting though. I mean, you know, you do get critical people, but you were saying what you could hear on the radio, and I've heard the same thing said when the penalty was given, that you said about the groans, and there was none of that around me. You know, in the lower, which can be critical. You know, where we
might just be that main stand bit.
might
Bloody rubbish town.
Yeah, it might be. That's right. It might be that sort of. I don't know. Maybe some people who like to say what they think.
Or those people who like to sit around that area because they think it gives them a degree of influence, and as such they think they know more than others. Not that I would suggest that might be the case, but I am definitely suggesting that.
Yeah, so maybe people are maybe people that want to sing. You know, it's a bit like away games sometimes, isn't it? You don't always get the singing. The people that want to sit. You know, some people don't want to do that, and that's fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, they clap politely and they cheer, but they don't want to sing. And sometimes you go to away games, don't you? And there might be a cluster of half a dozen of you that want to get a bit of a song going, and you're looking around, everyone else is glued to the seats. You know what I mean? It's not, and that's not.
And it only takes one bugger to turn around and go, "Will you lot shut the cup?" And then you go, "Oh, right."
So yeah, but if we got, you're gonna love this. If we had your singing section, then they would know exactly whereabouts in the ground they were going.
We got nowhere to put it at the moment. That's the problem.
If the Osmond, well, I mean, the pontoon should, you know, historically the pontoon should be, shouldn't it? But that stand has changed over the years, and the little cluster in the top corner has got smaller and smaller. It is growing again, and maybe that'll continue to grow, and you know that'll take up 2 or 3 blocks in that stand eventually, which is like it used to be when it was standing. When I used to go, you know, you went pretty much anywhere that side of the goal, and you wanted a lively afternoon.
A bit of atmosphere, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what it should be, isn't it? And I think if you're in the pontoon and Hannah goes in there with her young lass as well, like you should go in there fully expecting you might not be able to see everything because everyone's on their feet and everybody's sort of singing and shouting and dancing. And that should be the level of expectation when you go in the pontoon. It isn't, because over decades of sort of gentrification of the pontoon stand, is that a way to describe it? It's not that.
It feels like the pontoon's a family stand. Like there are kids all around me, and it's great, but it's, you know, you don't get the sense of what it used to be like in there. And the pontoon was particularly flat yesterday, I thought, and the Osmond were out singing us a lot, I would say.
And I don't see that as a bad problem. Like, if you get to a point where the pontoon is now, that's the family stand, that's great. That's no problem. It looks like a family stand anyway, given all the wonderful painting that's in the background of it and alike. Great. Make it a family stand. Get rid of the family stand in the corner of the main stand. Make that bit there. And if you're going to, hopefully, if you can move the disabled fans to somewhere better, then you can make that the away fan corner, get rid of the cage and put some seats in, and it can expand or abstract or whatever you need to do it.
And to be fair, the main stand's quite a trek for little kids. Like, that's one of the reasons we never picked it, because we park down Ellison Street, and to take a 2-year-old all the way around to the main stand, like, she'd be fast asleep by the time we got there.
Especially over the previous seasons. And then make the Osmond, like, if you're going in the Osmond, don't whine if everyone else is stood up and you can't see anything, because that's what you're expecting. People will scream and shout and go there. But at the moment, the problem we've got is we just don't have the flexibility in the ground to create an area, because we need every spot for a ticket, and we can't ordain a particular area for this, that, or the other, because every seat is worth a penny at the moment, and that's incredible. Anybody got anything to add before we wrap it up? Because I'm very aware that my mother is down, hence why I'm in here, not in my office.
There was another block available. I think they could have given the town fans yesterday, so we weren't quite sold out. But how many more games this season after Saturday? We've already had Wrexham here.
Chesterfield.
We've got Notts County Saturday. What we're going to have? Chesterfield, possibly Halifax. That we can't give it some of the Osmond to town fans. I can't think of too many beyond that. Maybe oh God, that's League Two. But you know, I can't think of too many others that we're going to have that problem.
No, I can't think so. We've got Stockport, haven't we?
Oh yeah, Stockport. Yeah, they won't have us in with Stockport, but with no easy segregation.
Yeah, so you've got what? Southend, maybe. Well, I mean, given their season, they might not want to.
Yeah. They might not even bother coming.
Yeah, and who can blame them? I mean, we haven't talked about it. We might want to on one game, but shows what could be. I think if we'd have still had our previous owners, I think other than Stockport would have been doing the same thing this year.
I think we're about 3,500 fans up on what we would have been. I think we'd have been in the twos. But I've just got, obviously we lost Tom there. I've just got
you do the plug.
Trying to
Shall I end it right now?
Pat Bell's excellent article on the Newcastle game, which is on COD Almighty. He says it's absolutely excellent and worth a read.
It's well worth a read. And we will be bringing, hopefully, the keeper's shaped flag will be making its debut at Wealdstone. And now I've not got a jinx on me. I'm allowed to go, which is wonderful. Anybody got anything to add before we go?
It's been enjoyable, and don't forget to do the ending today.
Yes, I will do. Thank you both so much for your company. Thank you for Paul, who joined us as well. I assume there are pubs in Wealdstone. Actually, I didn't tell you, did I? Hang on. We didn't do that. What's it like? I
didn't even say Weatherspoons, but
burgers are £4 to £4.50, which is pretty standard. Where to drink? There is a social club at the ground, the entrance, which is located outside the stadium, that normally admits visiting supporters. It won't admit us. Otherwise, there are a couple of pubs in easy walking distance of the ground and Ruislip Manor station on Victoria Road. There are the Manor Bar, JJ Moons, and the latter being a Weatherspoons. Close to Ruislip Station is the Crock of Bot Gold pub. Hang on, I go to Ruislip quite a bit. I should be able to tell you this. I don't know. There's a McDonald's and that's about it. It's a pretty shit high street. There's a KFC. I don't know.
McDonald's. Job done.
Yeah, there's a McDonald's. Thank you all so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Hannah. Hope everybody is well in your... Are you encased yet?
No, hopefully within the month. Fingers crossed. We're nearing the end.
And then you can talk and rant about parking like everybody else in Caister.
We've got 2 days and a garage with the house, so we're okay.
Oh, nice. And Bruce, thank you for joining us. I hope the running is going well.
It's all right, mate. Thank you, Hannah. You'll get you might get your name put back on the Coast of Mariners flag.
Yes.
Oh well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll speak to you soon, and I will leave you with the outro. And I'm trying to find it, hence why I am filling. Thank you. See you all later. Bye.